Hi, I'm here with Costa Mesa Brief, and I'm here at Feet to the Fire, and all of the people that are running for the Newport Beach City Council are here, and my best friend Patty is here. I think her name is Patty, right?
Yes, it is Patty. And who are you again? No, just kidding. This is fabulous. Thank you for being here. We're so excited to Feet to the Fire. I do this every year. I help Barbara Venezia do this, and this is going to be different because it's all new people this year, and I don't know any of the candidates.
So does it ever get kind of sticky? I mean, do people get in arguments? Is it going to be exciting? Am I going to be...
I think tomorrow night will be the most exciting one. Are you coming tomorrow?
Absolutely, wouldn't miss it.
Yeah, there could be a fight tomorrow. I'm not sure.
We get Costa...
drunks. We get some drunks.
It's Costa Mesa, right? That's Patty, thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Have a good evening. Thank you. Best friends. Call me.
Best friends forever.
My people will call your people. We'll do lunch.
Absolutely. So Scott, why are you here?
I'm here because I really am concerned about the City Council election for Newport Beach. I'm discouraged by what Team Newport has been doing. I'd like to see some people come on the board who've lived in Newport Beach for a long, long time and know the community and know the history of the community. And I know that there's one particular candidate here that we're supporting very strongly, and I'm going to hear him speak tonight. We go back to high school.
Can I ask who that is?
It's Jeff Herdman. He lives on the island. And they tried to get him not to be eligible to run for the city council by filing a suit very, very late. Such a contrivance. And he was found okay by the courts, and we're thrilled because he's going to be a great city council member.
So what is it that you're unhappy, specifically, what are you unhappy with?
Well, one in particular of the gentlemen.
No, don't tell me. No,
it's mine.
No, don't tell me that. All right, so.
I just don't think they get along well. They're not looking out for the community of Newport. It appears to me that they're very pro-development. We're certainly getting a lot of things put up, with traffic just overwhelming us and water needs overwhelming us. I loved our prior council, all of them. You know, I knew them all well. They were involved with us in all the experiences that I'm involved in, and it doesn't feel the same. And I want it to feel like it used to.
So you were talking about how long you've been here.
Yes.
And so tell us a little bit about the city when you came here.
Oh gosh, it was really a beach town. It was actually, my parents bought our home on the little island in 1954. I was 8 years old.
Are you talking about Balboa Island?
Balboa Island, yes, little Balboa Island. It was a second home. It was a summer home for us, but we loved it down here so much that we spent almost every single weekend in the winter and school vacations down here. I became a full-time resident in 1998, but my kids grew up on the island as well as I did because...
Where did you live before that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I grew up in Huntington Park, and when I was 16 we moved to Downey, and then we moved down to Newport.
So you really have been here for a long time.
I've been here a long time.
That's great. We moved down here a long time ago, and it's fabulous.
It is.
Yeah, I love it. So what would you like to do about traffic? Because I live out on Peninsula Point.
Oh, I know, and I live on Balboa Island, and we have to get ready every Friday for the onslaught. My wife and I have 2 golf carts. We got married 8 years ago. I had a golf cart She had a golf cart. When we got married, the golf carts came with us. And if we're going to have company on the weekends, we've got to put our golf carts out to save parking places. And we've become a destination city. The growth has happened. It's here. There's nothing we can do about it, but we absolutely have to study alternatives for traffic flow. I don't have the solution. I honestly don't have the solution as far as the existing traffic right now, but as far as future traffic and the impact that any kind of reuse of land or proposed development, those developers have got to have a plan for mitigation, and there have to be some concessions made to address traffic issues by the developers.
A lot needs to be done in terms of traffic. Yeah. So
You're
Mike,
so heavily impacted on the
the peninsula,
and the revitalization of the peninsula is going to result in even more.
I know.
Even though it's beautiful what they're doing over there.
I know. It's where we are prisoners actually when we're out there. Saturday and Sunday we just load up on food and that's it. But
Yes.
yeah, but Mike Glenn also talked about getting water. Everybody kind of passed over at getting water from Mesa water. Have you thought about that, or do you have an opinion about that?
Mike expressed a plan to the Corona del Mar Residents Association Board of Directors when the Board of Directors interviewed each of us about a month and a half or 2 months ago. I was very interested in knowing more about that plan, and it was tied to Mesa Water District. So I got a hold of George Murdoch at the city, and I said, will you take a look at this, and will you take your time, really study it, and tell me how viable it is. Basically, what Mike said is not viable. It is not viable.
Oh, did he say why?
He did, but I can't remember why. I got so much new information and new knowledge up here. I just remember the final pronunciation of this plan as being not workable for the city. There's so many hurdles that have to be jumped over and regulations and that I'm not even familiar with at this point.
Okay.
I certainly would have a responsibility to be if elected.
Right. Well, it sounded so good when he said it, so I was just
Yes.
interested. Water is an issue. So.
Yes.
All right. So this is Phil Greer. Yeah, I really enjoyed you. You're a funny guy.
Thank you. I think you have to be very serious about what you're doing, but you have to do it in a way that shows that you're enjoying what you're doing. And that's how I try to approach this. This is a very serious campaign. The issues are very serious. But you have to also understand that this is only part of what you do and who you are. And if you can bring a little lightness to it and lighten the room up, then you can have conversations. And it's all about those conversations.
It is. So I was just talking. So my own issue is traffic, because we live out on the Peninsula Point on Miramar, and it's just impossible to get on and off. We're virtual prisoners on the weekends. So do you guys have any? Do you have a plan?
I said to somebody the other day, traffic on the peninsula has been horrible since I was a kid going to the Wedge. Okay, it's one of those things that the peninsula wasn't built for mass transit. It wasn't built for all the number of cars and people that are there. I think you have to look at a number of different things. I think you have to look at some public transportation. They're talking about implementing a trolley or some kind of a system, which I think would be good. I think you have to look at parking and how to better manage it. I think what they're doing up in Corona del Mar in terms of trying to manage the parking a little better is going to help ease traffic. And I think we need to take a look down there and do the same thing. Create some parking areas where you can park and then take your transportation to somewhere else. So it's not going to be a quick fix, but it's going to be a fix that if you work together, if the community works with everybody else, you can get it done. And that's what I want to do.
A friend of mine told me that the red car used to run right down the middle of the peninsula. So, could we have something like that going down there?
I think that'd be something that'd be great. I mean, you go back and you look at the history of the red car, and the tire companies and the gas companies killed it because they wanted people to drive. If that infrastructure would have remained, if people would have had the vision back then to do that, I don't think you'd have the traffic issues you have now. So now we've got to reinvent the wheel, so to speak, and go down there. And I think it can be done. I think it goes back to the funding and the infrastructure and things of that nature. And how do you prioritize your money? I think we've prioritized it over in Fashion Island. We've prioritized it in other places, and now it's time to prioritize it on the west side and down on the peninsula, and do that.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, I'm just going to ask you one more question
Sure.
that interests me, and that's about water. So Mike has said that that using Mesa water would be a good idea. Do you know anything about that, or do you have an opinion?
I haven't studied as much as I should have at this point. I know that water companies are very territorial. I know that there's a whole lot of politics that go on. I know that, for instance, we live up in Newport Coast, and when Newport Coast came online to the city, there was a big fight over who was going to service us water. And the Irvine Ranch Water District ended up paying a whole lot of money to maintain that so they wouldn't go out of business essentially and be absorbed by the city of Irvine. So water is an interesting thing, and I haven't studied it as much as I probably should to get to where I want to be. But I think we have to look at some of those things because it can save money, it can create a better system, it can reduce waste and do all of those things that we need to do because we're going to run out of water just like we're going to run out of traffic space.
So, do you think anything more can be built on the peninsula? I mean, I'm kind of focused on the peninsula because that's where I live.
You know, I don't, and here's my, we were down, I'll tell you a little story. I end up telling stories a lot, so I apologize for that. We were down at an art gallery, and I walked down to the ocean there, and I looked around, and I thought, if they have their way, they're going to make this Miami Beach. And I don't want Miami Beach here. I grew up the way it is, essentially, with the smaller houses, the sand, the shops, the horrible food, and everything else that's down there. And that's what we need, and that's what we need to keep. We need to keep that character. So I would not be in favor of any massive development down there. You know, I think Marina Park's a wonderful facility, and it services the community. But in terms of just knocking down houses and building condominium projects down there, no. It should be everybody's beach. We need to keep those memories and that history. We really do.
I was just talking to several other people that are running as well, and we were talking about traffic especially down the peninsula, and I'm interested in that because that's where I live. So,
okay. Well, as I said up there, a lot of the things you heard from the other candidates were more generic stuff, but I think I brought up some issues that are more how you're going to do it.
I know. I'm sorry I interrupted you, but I listened to you. I know. I listened to that, and you were talking about the communities around and how you would work that out. And I'm sure it's we're only having a short interview, so you probably can't say that.
Right.
But specifically.
For the Bible Peninsula.
Well, not just that, but there must be a way so that we have some sort of public transportation or something.
Yes. Well, there are many, many different solutions. You know, we got the examples of it down in San Diego. The trolleys and, rental bike or even free bikes that you can pick up and on the other side, I mean, that's in France. In Paris, you see that all the time. I mean, there are so many practical ways to solve the problem. But the main thing is that we have to have the manpower to control the traffic that comes there. A lot of times, people that come out of town, out of here, not knowing the area, they drive like they're lost. But if you have enough, I wouldn't even want to say policemen, people that could direct people to the appropriate parking lots, to the appropriate areas they want to go, be more of a liaison, a welcoming thing to our city because of our tax bases. We need them. It's a conundrum. On one hand, we want them to come, to buy things and do things to increase our tax base. On the other hand, we don't want them to come because they do really create.
Yeah, I know, but we were people who came too. I mean, I was a kid that came down here, so I don't. I think
I don't mind it either, but it's got to be a controlled way. We cannot do the kind of things that we do in the rest of the city with the peninsula. Because it's different. I remember when I was 18, 19, during the Easter vacation, I had 4 roommates in a 2-bedroom apartment. We used to raise hell. We even used to drag race.
I probably saw you.
Now, probably, yeah. I don't even remember. I passed by there trying to identify which building we were living in. I know approximately where. But what I'm saying is that for the time being, as it sort of a Band-Aid, we need to have more control of the traffic movement and directing people to the right places. Don't drive too fast, don't drive too slow, kind of thing. But other things, other mechanisms like bikes, trolleys, golf carts, you name it. There are so many other ways that you can reduce it. We can have a little center at the little Y that we have there, or someplace around there, that would rent golf carts, bicycles, everything controlled by the city with the cheapest price you can find it anywhere, just at cost. Just imagine how many people would love to get on a bike and ride all the way down and back rather than getting in the big SUV and drive down. And maybe if they're in a small car, they don't have the room or whatever to bring their bicycle. I wish I could bring my bike, but it's there. Go use it. When people see it, they will use it.
It's good to see you again.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Likewise.
Yeah. So, Dick, can you tell us what you thought about tonight? And do you think you were able to get your points across?
Yeah, I think that I made some pretty compelling arguments there, and I, was one of the presented most of the plans that were there as well. So I've not only, can criticize of course, the obvious bad actions of the current council, but come up with some good solutions as well.
So I asked, it was Jeff, I think, Jeff Herdman, about the water plan, the Mesa plan, and he said that he talked to somebody and it wasn't possible. Do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Talk to the guys over at Mesa Water, and they'll tell you it's absolutely possible. It's easy to say things that are, that are impossible, but when you have a plan and everybody agrees that it's workable, and particularly the parties involved, it's absolutely possible. I don't know where he's getting his information, but I'd love to find out.
We'll ask him. Ask him. Can we? I wonder if we can get together with the water department of the Mesa Water and ask them to talk to them.
They would.
about it.
I am certain they would love to tell you all about how it would be great.
Could you set that up, maybe?
Yeah, absolutely. And the benefit that they get, they aren't doing this out of the goodness of their heart either, is they have set overhead costs. So the more water they can pump out, those overhead costs remain the same, so the cheaper they can provide it to their own customers.
That's great. Okay, is there anything you'd like to add that you didn't get a chance to say?
Boy, I could go on forever on that one, so I'll play it safe. But I would be really appreciative of everybody's vote in Newport Beach. Again, this is a key election, so and I thank everybody for caring about our city and watching shows such as these. It makes a big difference, and we need more people like them.
So, Barbara, Venezia, you plan this whole thing. You do it every year. It's such a great thing.
Thank you.
No, it really is. I'm not kidding. So tell us a little bit about it. I mean, what do you love about it, and how did Tom get involved, or has he always been involved?
Well, in the beginning, which was 2010, when John Canales, who's my editor at the Daily Pilot, first
was
came
missing
to me.
tonight.
Yes, John is back and forth to LA now, so that's why he wasn't here. But when he first came to me with the idea in 2010 of having journalists and a talk show format versus the normal forums that people are used to, I loved the idea, because who knows these candidates better than the people that cover them like me for an entire season. So we put feet to the fire together. We came up with a catchy phrase, and then of course I had the outfits made, the leather feet to the fire outfit.
Let's get that outfit, okay? Because that is fabulous.
Yes, the feet to the fire. Oh, don't get my feet. I put my sandals on now. But it was just a great format and a way to let people see the candidates in a different vein. So it's very personality driven. It's opinion driven. We're not asking them facts and figures. We're asking them their opinions on things. And I think tonight we had some very articulate people, some people who everybody on the stage really knew the issues and are long-term residents, so they have that institutional knowledge. I thought it was a very, very good forum, and it's our 10th forum now.
Is it really? Honestly? See, I thought you missed a couple of years or last year or something, but you didn't, did you? You still had it.
No, we do it every 2 years because that's when when our councils are. So we try to do Newport one night and Costa Mesa second night. And we started at the Costa Mesa Community Center in 2010. And then last year, we were approached by Orange Coast College to bring the forums here. And it's such a great auditorium, and the people here are so wonderful, and parking's easy, and everybody knows where it is. It's centrally located. So we're very happy to have this new home here.
That's great. Thank you so much, Barbara. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for being here.